Welcome to Nebraska Preps Postgame with your hosts, Mike Sautter and Jacob Padilla.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another edition of Nebraska Preps Postgame. Mike Sautter, Jacob Padilla. We are virtual today. Snow day, I guess. It's supposed to snow, maybe.
It's already started in Lincoln, just hasn't hit us here in Omaha too much yet as we record on Monday morning.
Yeah, I guess it's supposed to come soon. But that's okay. So that's, why we can do this virtually and have setups and stuff. So, yeah. All right, let's get right to it. Class A.
New coaches poll.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of changes after a couple of weeks off through the holidays and everything. So a lot's happened since the last time you asked coaches for their top tens.
Took 2 weeks off on purpose. So gave them time. The Metro Holiday Tournament kind of changes that for as far as a poll goes. In my opinion, there's no reason to do it when there's tournaments still going on and changing things. So it's kind of like at the end of the year where I don't, once the district brackets or district play starts, there's no reason to do a coaches poll until after the year. So anyway, LVUS takes over the number 1 spot, followed by Millard North. And then Omaha Central makes the big jump from number 8 to number 3 in the coaches poll. So just ahead of Westside at number 4. And then no change with Gretna at 5. Prep stays at 6. Southeast goes from not rated, wasn't receiving votes, to number 7. And then Papio South drops after a couple of losses to number 8. And just ahead of Omaha North, who beat Papio South after Papio South gave up a double-digit lead in the third quarter. Yeah. And then Omaha Bryan rounds out the top 10 at number 10 with no one else receiving votes. No Kearney, no Pius, no nothing in Class A.
I think, both those teams are like 6-4 or something like that. 5-5. Yeah. So around that point. So yeah, makes sense that they're out. Still good teams, but they got some things to figure out in terms of scoring some of these big wins. But that you mentioned Bellevue West back at number 1, I think clearly looking like the best team right now after the holiday tournament, the way they put things together. And I think the key to that, obviously we know Jane Jackson, but the way that Robbie Garcia has been playing. So we recorded last week on Thursday after the tournament. So we're basically looking at games from Friday, Saturday in terms of new stuff. Mm-hmm. And Bell West handled Abraham Lincoln from Council Bluffs, 87-55. And Robbie Garcia, again, led the way, 20 points, 5 boards, 4 of 6 from 3. So on the season, he's averaging 16 points and 7 boards, shooting 60% from the field and 55% from 3. Over his last 5, he is 17 of 23 from deep, which is ridiculous.
We're not talking about like 1 a game or something.
No.
Like, there's a big number there that you can really hang your hat on, and we talk about him basically all year right now. It's like he's just killing it. He's playing extremely well and kind of leading them, if you will.
I mean, you take out the 8 for 8 game, that's still 9 of 15 over 4 games. Like, he's really started to up the attempts and the accuracy. And if you got him as a stretch 5 out there, knocking down shots at that high of a rate when you already have to worry about Jaden Jackson and Steven Pulacek, the way that they've been playing, then those guys are going to be tough to guard for anybody.
And Eldon, after he, gets back kind of healthy, if you will, getting downhill, Isaiah McMorris has given them a really nice boost as well, off the bench, sometimes starting, sometimes off the bench.
Those two, 26 points and 10 assists between them against Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, I mean, it's then you throw in Jacob Arope, giving Robbie some time. I mean, it's the only team with two. It's the only team with 2 kind of guys with big enough size to battle with everybody else outside of maybe prep with Dylan Clausen and Trinell Parker.
Yeah. So WS, very deserving number 1 right now. And Millard North drops to number 2 after their Metro tournament loss, which they promptly avenged last Thursday. Beat Central 58-46, kind of led the whole way. It was never like totally in doubt. It's just kind of like each quarter they won just by a little bit. It was an ugly offensive game, just kind of looking at the box score. Neither team shot well. And that was the key to the Central upset in tournament. I mean, Dale Thomas himself went 8 for 10 from 3 in that game. As a team, Central shot 2 of 15 from 3. Millard North wasn't much better. They also struggled in the tournament to hit threes, but they were 5 of 20 on Thursday. So it wasn't much better, but that was enough to kind of give them control. Another double-double from Derek Rollins with 18 points, 11 rebounds, 5 blocks. Got Neil Monster and Elijah Geth combined for 24 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists after both struggling in the first game against Central. So, and they got 10 points, 5 boards from Grant Urbanic. So just a team-wide effort. Didn't play great offensively, but they locked up Central and got enough contributions from everybody to get back on track there. And they're sitting at 9-1 now.
Central will muck it up, and they have they don't care about playing ugly and winning ugly, and that's how they're going to win most of the time, and especially against good opponents. So you're gonna see that. I mean, that's a Chubbuck team. That's just what he does and what they've done throughout the years, and they win that way, and they're comfortable winning that way with just good athletes, I guess, and football players and whatever they need to do to get the job done. So, yeah, I mean, it's Central's kind of, again, on a roll, a little surprising, right, I guess. Just with some of the wins they had, the Millard North win obviously is big. So, no one was going to go undefeated this year, and I think we all kind of expected no one to do that, right? Yeah. Just with the balance this year.
Well, and I think we talked about like heading into the tournament, like surprise, like it looked like a clear top 6. Surprise,
right.
Wouldn't be surprised if any of them win. At this point, we might even have to expand that just a little bit based on what we've shown. Anybody can lose at this point, even 2 teams outside of that top 6. Like you said, Central made that run, climbed up to 3, and then Omaha North knocked off Papio South. We'll get to that here momentarily, but it's setting up for an exciting season. Like you have to be ready to go every single night. The talent is dispersed enough that we're going to have some pretty good competition, I think, throughout the season and in the state tournament as well. Down
the stretch here, we're already like middle of January almost. So like it's coming a little bit quicker than I think we're like a month away from the final regular season games happening.
That's kind of wild.
I know. It's always, I guess, around Valentine's Day, and that's kind of like the end, and that's really almost a month away.
Yeah, month and a half or so. Yeah. Well, about 5 weeks or so. Anyway, Central, DJ Sterling, the way he's playing has been a key for them. He had 14, led them in scoring against Millard North. And the key for them to kind of move forward even further is to get Devin Holman going a little bit more than he has been recently. I think if they can get him kind of locked in and playing a little bit more efficiently to go with what Dale Thomas is capable of and what DJ Sterling has showed, they'll be a pretty tough out. They took care of business against W East after losing to Millard North. Got 11 different guys scored, got a bunch of guys in. So, and Sterling led the way with 12. But he said West Side at 4. They only had one game last week that, like the 2 days we're talking about here, took care of business against Elkhorn South. 24 from Kevin Stubblefield, 17 from CJ Mitchell. Just ridiculously efficient game for them. Took care of business against an Elkhorn South team that is struggling, basically replacing their entire varsity rotation from last year. They've got they got 2 guys that actually played for them in the rotation last year. Aiden Scradis has had a pretty good year, but so that's Westside's at 8-3, and they've got a big week. They got Papio South on Friday and Pius on Saturday. Yeah. So that's a tough one. And then we'll talk about kind of what we're going to do next week. There's a big Martin Luther King Jr. event over at Abraham Lincoln that Jason Isaacson hosting over there. Yeah. Got teams from Iowa, Illinois, Missouri coming in to face Nebraska teams, plus AL as the host. Yeah. So that'll be an interesting day of games there that I'm planning to be there. Mm-hmm. So, but Westside involved in that, taking on an Auburn team out of Illinois. So,
the thing, can I just hit Westside real quick? Yeah. I don't know why, we always bring up Kevin Stubblefield. Like he just always shows up, right? I don't know why it is that people don't recognize his talent, I guess, or they just kind of brush him off from a, recruiting standpoint, I guess, if you will. I mean, it's just even, junior college and small college stuff. They're just like, yeah, but what is he? And all these things. And I'm just like, I don't know. He just always is productive. Yeah. Like he's just always productive. So like, I don't know, if you like a productive player, then it's probably that guy. I don't know. Yeah. Like, yes, he's not a true traditional post, but that's okay. Like it's perfectly fine. He's big enough and strong enough to play a little bit inside, but he also can step out in threes. And again, he just gets the job done. So I don't know. That's just I guess I'll grandstand for Kevin Stubblefield for a minute, but I just don't understand, I guess, the disrespect, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, it's been the case ever since like he started playing for them. Just kind of, it's hard to describe his game. Like he's a hard player to like sum up just because of the like, we haven't really seen guys that play quite like him where just all about using his body, like mostly around the basket, 6'4", like I said, not really a post, not really a guard, just kind of something in between. But like when he's rolling, he's tough. Like in the tournament game they won against Prep, like he was kind of the key against the zone, finding the cracks, getting to the basket.
I was just gonna say he's very capable of getting downhill on you too, which all right,
we're good. Yeah, Gretna had a tough one last Saturday at Lincoln North Star, a talented young North Star team that, like you said last week, they got all their pieces back. I think that's a team that they're going to be tough out every single night. They haven't won any of these big games yet, but they've certainly got the talent to give teams problems, and that's what they did with Gretna. Ended up winning 72-68. It was neither team played a ton of defense, but the reason it was close, Gretna was 4 of 11 from three. North Star was 13 of 33. They got 33 of those things fired up and hit 13 of them. So like that'll even things out. Like that's the big equalizer. And led the way. Jaquise Fowler, the freshman there, went 5 of 9 from three. Scored 17 to go with Zarek Houston's 18 points, 7 assists, and Jordan Casper's 12.6 assists. But Gretna also got contributions from all their key guys. 17 points, 5 assists from Cade Cook, 16.7 rebounds for Alex Wilcoxon, 16 points for Alec Wilkins, and 15 points, 5 assists for Landon Pekorski. And shout out to Alex, who went over 1,000 points. So knew that milestone was coming up for him, and he hit it. So that group of seniors, they're going to carry them all season long, and they certainly did in that game.
Yeah, I mean, the Gretna thing is, I think they're going to, it's the emotional piece is got to catch up to them, eventually. And might drop a couple games here that they're not expected to or something like that. Just because, it's hard not to, right? Like high school kids, it's just hard not to – it's hard to let that go. So Coach Feakin's funeral is actually today. So maybe after that it gives a little closure. But, they won that, the game winner, which we all, I think, have seen by now. Yeah. But it's that, and they need to find some depth. Like they need like half of another guy, right? Like just somebody off the bench, because their 5 is pretty good. It's just, can we find a 6th or 7th? Like 7 might be pushing it right now.
Yeah. And those guys are Trevin Wilkins and Chase Doble for them. Trevin, just a sophomore. I coached him during the summer. He's Alex's little brother.
Yeah.
He knows his role. He kind of hangs out in that corner, cuts along the baseline, moves the ball a little bit. Doble's in there to set screens, grab a rebound here or there. Those guys coming in do know their role. They know they're not going to put up big point totals, but if they can continue to kind of eat up the minutes, give those other guys a little bit of rest. But I think, for the most part, that the production is going to come from the 4 that I've mentioned, with Joey V making some plays here and there. But they're 9-2 and pretty darn good team. And they've got a big one. Big one on Thursday, hosting Millwood North. So that'll be another tough one, another chance to kind of show themselves. And we'll see kind of what they can put together there. And then they go to Lincoln East on Saturday. Prep, pretty easy week, monster week from Dylan Clausen. They beat Bellevue East and then beat Omaha Westview. Clausen had 27-10 against the Chieftains and 22-11 against Westview. So pretty good there. Trinell Parker had 16-10 against Westview, and we know they don't have a ton of size there. So 38 and 21 points from your 2 posts. Like that's kind of what Prep is. That's their calling card. They're 8-2 now. They got Miller South and Omaha South coming up this week.
Should be. Very manageable schedule, I guess is the term there. And then, hey, Southeast, the hottest team in state.
7 straight, I think.
Outside of Bellevue West, I guess. The hottest team in state. They're killing it, man. They just keep winning games.
Yeah, they coming out of the hack.
Beat Southwest. I'm sure you'll talk about that. It's a big one.
Coming out of the hack tournament, went right back into City League play, and 53-50, they pulled that out against Southwest, which grinder there. Tamor at 25 to lead the way. Denguide at 11 points, 8 boards. But the difference was Southeast 14-21 from the free throw line, and Southwest was only 8 of 11, because neither team shot particularly well from the field. The key was they held Braden Frager to 6 points and 2 of 16 shooting, and he fouled out. Like that. I think that was the key to the game right there. We know Frager's the most support guy for Southwest. He's been carrying them all season. Great defense from Southeast to kind of hold him to a season low there. And then they beat Northeast by 22. Jake Hilkeman, Tay Moore, Kendall Hinn, all in double figures there. So it's kind of Southeast kind of settle in like 6-man key rotation, maybe a few minutes here or there from other guys. But so it's another team. It'll be interesting to see kind of if they develop a little bit more depth as you get into the second half of the season here. Papio South.
Hey, Kim, real quick before we move on.
Go ahead. You're good.
I need to clarify something on Mike Nagoya. He has been at Southeast his entire career.
Yeah.
I had mentioned once or twice last week, I believe, that he had transferred from Parkview. I got him and his brother, Dan, kind of mixed up or whatever. Dan played at Parkview. So I need to correction there. So yeah, he's been there the whole time. So.
I didn't even catch that. Mikey's a good player for them. He's kind of developed behind the scenes, worked his way, bided his time, and now as a junior, starting and playing a key role for them with some other guys transferring out of there. So, and Papio South, they sitting there at 9-2. They took care of business against Millard South. Another ho-hum 33-12 from Bryson Ball. He went 12-14 from the free throw line. But then 62-60 loss at Omaha North on a game winner from Jerion Williams. That they had 21-13 from Ball, but 20 turnovers.
Yeah, blew a big lead.
Yeah, it was. They were up. They were up 36-23 at half, and then outscored by 5 in the third, and then gave up a 22-12 fourth quarter, including the game winner there. So not great there. They were 12-22 from the free throw line. You miss 10 free throws, lose by 2. That's tough. That one's going to, I think, that one's going to sting for them as they look back on that one. But
and North keeps winning though, so it might not be that bad.
Yeah, they beat Benson back-to-back days in the kind of Metro Consolation and then a regular scheduled game to kind of get ready for that Papio South game. And here they are sitting at 8-2. Jaron Williams had 10 points, 6 rebounds, 5 steals in that game. The Kai Turner had 17 points. Minor Strong, they won despite him really struggling. So like that's a great sign for them.
Yeah.
Kind of coming into the year, it was like Minor and then, all right, who else is going to step up? Well, they show that they can win even without Minor kind of leading the way for them. So that is a good sign for them. But again, Papio South missed a bunch of free throws there. Like that's just that'll cost you. You can't do that in close games. So we'll see that Omaha North. Lighter week, they've got Padilla and Vista Friday, Columbus Saturday. So gonna have to wait to see them get another chance at scoring a big win like that. But 8-2 record, just like Bryan at number 10, who beat Burke and Buena Vista last week. So we probably don't even need to mention that. So they got Great and East on Thursday, Grand Island on Saturday for Bryan there.
Yeah. Okay. You want to move on to Class B real quick?
Yes, sir. Let's knock it out.
Creed had a pretty good weekend out in Scottsbluff.
Traveling out west, yeah. They beat Gearing by 46 and then beat Scottsbluff by 17. So, looking like a clear number one with a bullet, especially considering what happened around them.
Yeah.
Norris at number 2 did not play last week after coming out of the EMC tournament. They took the week off. They got a tricky one, Lincoln Lutheran Tuesday. I saw them play last week. And then Blair, who's competitive. So no top 10 team or top 10 Class B teams anyway, but have to go out there and get ready to play. And then
Lincoln Lutheran's got a schedule this week.
Yeah. Well, so starting with Concordia, then Wahoo, right? Then they played then Norris and then Ashland Greenwood
on Thursday.
Yeah. Like that's all within 9 days. That's how I was talking to Dan Masters after I went down there. I was like, oh, so you guys did pretty light schedule. You guys need to challenge yourselves or something.
Yeah. Pretty tough.
So if like chance to score some big wins here, or if they come out on the other end with their record not looking like what it was, don't let that fool you. Still a good basketball team there.
Still well, but wild card points, no matter what, will still help because those teams are win, and so it'll be Division I loss versus whatever is a little different. Yeah. Yep.
So Elkhorn sitting there at 3, 70-42 against Plattsmouth and 83-58 against Boys Town. And the story of the week was Nixon Farmer, sophomore guard from them. Had 23 in the first game, 21, 5 assists and 4 steals in the second game. Obviously, we know Cole Peterson had a great week. He had 14 points, 9 blocks, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals against Plattsmouth, doing a bit of everything. And then 14 points, 7 rebounds, 5 blocks, 4 steals against Boys Town. And they've got some size. So it wasn't like he was picking on a small team there with Boys Town. But like, if they continue to get like that kind of spark from a guy like Farmer, again, just a sophomore, was kind of a varsity JV swinger last year. That he's got a chance to add some more firepower to an already talented team with a big front court. So Colin Comstock had a big week previously. So you got Comstock, you got Farmer, you got Luke Howard's played a lot of basketball for them. So that's Elkhorn is looking like a solid team, and I'm hoping to see them play this week. We'll talk about that.
They got a little depth there too, though. Like they can have some bench depth there too. Yeah. Class B story of the week is the Elkhorn Wolves, though.
Yeah, and they've risen all the way up to number 4 at 6-3. But since Sutton Piatkowski's joined the lineup, they've been a different team, and they beat Bennington in the 3rd place game of the EMC tournament, 70-60, and then followed that up with a 61-57 win against Scott.
First time ever.
Yeah. Well, shot 12 of 20 from 3 in that game.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Like that'll do it every single time. Scott was only 6 of 18. So like not a horrible shooting game, but like they got doubled up in points from the arc, and that's going to be tough to make up. Kellen Murphy, the freshman for them, led the way. He went 5 of 5 from 3, had 18 points. Nike Orgabold had 17, 6-9 from the field, hit his only 3. Sutton Pietkowski had 13 points, 7 boards, went 3 of 4 from 3. Like, Orgabold and Pietkowski are going to be the guys that kind of to lead them. Obviously, Will Farrington, as well as in there, can get hot. But you're going to get that kind of performance from a freshman. Like, that's what you need to knock off a team like Scott.
Right.
And Elkhorn North did. And now they've got a big week coming up. They are going to Elkhorn on Friday. Yeah. And Elkhorn beat them. I think it was a 5-point game in the EMC semis. Yeah. So got a chance to see them again. Quick turnaround here. We'll see what they got in round 2. Like I said, I'm hoping to make it to that one to see them both play. So that's like Elkhorn North. That's the team. Like I said, only 6-3, but you got to watch out for them.
Yeah, that Scott win probably gives them a ton of confidence too. So, but let's move on to Scott and Brock Scholl's obviously playing extremely well for them.
Yeah, so they bounced back from losing to Crete. They went to Roncalli and won that thing. I was there, 71-63, and it was kind of. They stretched it out. They led the entire way. They were up 16, something like that. And then credit to Roncalli. They made a run, cut that thing down to, I think, 6 or 7 with about 3 minutes to go, and just kind of ran out of steam, missed some plays, chance to kind of cut into it there. But Brock Scholl, 28 points, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks, really efficient game for him, and just dominated Roncalli. Scott starts 6'8", 6'8". They dominated the glass. I counted with 50 rebounds, 21 offensive. And that was the kind of key to the game because they did not shoot well. Neither did Roncalli. But they got 15 points from Kyle Cannon and 10 from Will O'Doherty. Then in the loss, Scholl still 24 points, 6 boards. Again, another efficient scoring game. But they didn't get a second guy. Nobody else scored more than 8 points. They just struggled shooting the ball as a team there. So Scott to be the top 4, top 3, top 2, whatever we thought they would be going into the season. They're going to need a little bit more consistent play from Cannon, who last year was a 6th man, now stepping into kind of the lead guard role for them. Mm-hmm. And so the Elkhorn North game was a rough one for him, but he's a talented player that I'm sure will bounce back for them. And they've got Lewis Central on Tuesday and Sioux City West on Saturday, or going to Sioux City West on Saturday. So playing a couple of Iowa teams coming up this week as they stand at 7-3.
Should be fine. Okay, let's roll through the rest of the beat. We got to get moving.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Just Scottsbluff at 6, Roncalli at 7, Platteview at 8, Bennington at 9, and Waverly cracking in with a 4-6 record at 10, which I think just kind of says what you need to know about B.
Yeah, not a lot of options. Yeah.
No, Mount Michael was also receiving votes at 4-6 as well. So
who just loves TJ?
Yeah, I mean the rest of the classes, top 1, 2 went unchanged in right. C1, C2, D1, and D2. So nothing really at the top. Kind of
no real movement at all really. And
Tonka at 11-0 went from 8 to 4 in C2. You had McCool Junction at 9-1 jump up from 6 to 3 in D1. Plainview went from 10 to 6 at 8-3, and then in D2, Walt Hill is out to a 10-0 start, climbed from 7 to 3. Kind of shout out for Osceola, who's there at number 4 in D2. They're 8-4, but they lost to number 8 in C2. So in Cross County, that's no shame in that. You're punching up two classes there. But last week they bounced back and beat Cornerstone Christian. But Kale Gustafson, 60 points and 27 rebounds in 2 games, and broke the school career scoring record. So shout out to him.
The Osceola career scoring record, you are breaking a pretty good player. His record that you just saw was his teammate. So
Isaiah Zelazny.
Isaiah, So it wasn't, So
it's funny thing. It's small town because Isaiah school scoring record. He's a track athlete, basketball, 2nd or 3rd, good football player as well.
Right.
And Gustafson's going to play football in college, and is also a great basketball player. So those are kind of the stories you get in D1. Nice when you guys can set records in your second or third sport.
Right. You want to run through shout outs real quick?
Yeah, we got some big ones. So don't often mention like homeschool competition on this podcast, but shout out to Omaha Roadrunners, the sophomore Stephen Van Cat, 44 points against Veritas Christian, 17-25 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3, 7 of 11 from the line, 7 boards, 6 steals, 3 assists, and a 6-point win. So they needed every bit of that production. Another 40-point outing from Terrence Pittman, the Lincoln Parkview Christian. Senior, 41 points, 15 of 28 from the field, 6 of 8 from 3, 5 of 8 from the line, 7 steals, 4 assists, 3 boards, and an 18-point win against Omaha Nation. And, man, that dude is getting shots up this season. You kind of look at his box scores every single night. It's 20, 30 shot attempts, and he's making the most of them there. Kimball senior Brandon Paxson had 29 points, 11 of 19 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, 5 of 7 from the line, 19 rebounds, 5 offensive, 7 blocks, 4 steals, 3 assists. But 29, 19, 7, 4, 3, that is a stat line right there in a 21-point win against South Platte. And then finally, I mentioned before, but York Jr. Ryan Houston had a triple-double, went a double-double into a triple-double. 16 points, 80% shooting, 7 boards, 13 assists, 1 steal against Schuyler. And then 17 points, 60% shooting, 15 rebounds, 11 assists, and 2 steals against Grand Island Northwest. So, dude knows how to pass the ball. And if you've ever seen him play, he's kind of he's a kind of combo guard forward, big body, old school game. And he does a great job at the high-low there with Leighton Snodgrass, who had a 27-point game last week. Those two are kind of their key guys that control most of their production. So another great week there for Houston in terms of putting up numbers there.
All right. That'll do it for this week's episode of Nebraska Preps Postgame. I'm Mike Sautter, Jacob Padilla with all the numbers you need to know. So we will be back next week after, another full week of Nebraska high school basketball action.